Chapter 2. The Synthesis Enlightenment T. In front of Lin Yuan, a transparent system panel appeared. Infinite Synthesis System. Host, Lin Yuan. Realm, Qi Cultivation 4th Layer. Martial Arts, Rock Qi Cultivation Technique LV2. Proficient. Lower Grade Yellow Technique, Earth Attribute Technique, capable of absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to transform spiritual power, can be cultivated up to the 9th layer of Qi cultivation, comes with abilities such as Spiritual Power Shield, Spiritual Power Release, and Spiritual Power Enhancement. Spells, Bright Jade Sword Technique LV2, Proficient. Medium Grade Yellow Technique, consumes spiritual power to imbue sword moves with sword qi. The higher the proficiency, the stronger the sword qi. Drifting Cloud Steps LV2, Proficient. Medium Grade Yellow Technique, consumes spiritual power to enhance speed, change footwork, and reduce air resistance. Dust Removal Spell LV3, Proficient. Lower Grade Yellow Spell, Earth Attribute Spell, consumes spiritual power to remove dust from a certain area. Spirit Rain Spell LV2, Proficient. Lower Grade Yellow Spell, Water Attribute Spell, consumes spiritual power to create a cloudy sky and rain. Fire Ignition Spell LV2, Proficient. Lower Grade Yellow Spell, Fire Attribute Spell, consumes spiritual power to produce flames. System Skills, Identification Skill, Universal Skill, consumes a small amount of spiritual power to identify items and basic life information. Synthesis Skill LV1, Core Skill, can synthesize items. Different item combinations will produce random effects. Synthesizing the same item will enhance the item's quality, not exceeding 2 grades higher. Synthesis limit, 10 times per day, accumulatively. Synthesis window, plus, equals. Lin Yuan's lips curled up into a silent smile. There really was a system. Now, things were stable. His face returned to calm. Following his memory, he walked back to his own home. Even outer disciples had their own independent residence, complete with a small defensive array. Trying to release his spiritual power, he tapped the disciple token, and with a little exploration, activated the defensive array. A pale white light shrouded the residence. The defensive effect of this shield was average, more of an alert than a defense, but with this defensive array, the spiritual or divine senses couldn't casually probe in. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged in the cultivation chamber. With a flick of his wrist, he emptied the storage pouch, revealing his assets. Over 400 low-grade spirit stones, a dozen talismans, several bottles of elixirs, a lower-grade magical garment, a lower-grade illuminated jade saw. 2 martial arts manuals, and a few jade boxes. He pondered for a moment, then picked up a talisman and tossed it into the synthesis window. The talisman disappeared instantly from his hand. Synthesis window, Fireball Talisman, plus, equals. The usage seemed straightforward. He then grabbed a simple piece of wood and tossed it in. Synthesis window, Fireball Talisman, plus, wood, equals. Ding, confirm synthesis. Yes. Lin Yuan nodded. Synthesis successful. Remaining attempts, 9. In an instant, the contents of the first 2 windows vanished, and something appeared in the third window, plus, equals, Fire Torch Talisman. With a thought, a pristine talisman appeared in Lin Yuan's hand. Appraisal Skill. Item, Fire Torch Talisman. Type, Talisman. Grade, Lower Grade Yellow Talisman. Effect, activated with a thread of spiritual power, summons a torch burning for half an hour. Lin Yuan fell into silence. The lower grade fireball talisman could summon a controllable fire, all with decent offensive capabilities. As for this fire torch talisman, it wasn't entirely useless, but rather intriguing. Rubbing his chin, Lin Yuan conducted an experiment and began to discern some patterns. When synthesizing different items, there seemed to be a distinction between primary and secondary components. For instance, in the synthesis of the fireball talisman and wood, the fireball talisman, being of higher grade, occupied the primary position, while the wood took the secondary role. After synthesis, the primary component remained dominant, while incorporating some abilities of the secondary component. The crucial point was the randomness of the outcomes when synthesizing different items. The result of the first synthesis might be a fire torch talisman, but the second synthesis could yield a different result altogether. This uncertainty undoubtedly seemed impractical, especially considering his current financial situation. Lin Yuan couldn't afford to play around with it for now. However, once he had more resources, he could use this random synthesis method for experimentation. If his proficiency in talisman crafting was high enough, he could potentially reverse engineer the crafting method of the fire torch talisman from its synthesized form, thereby obtaining new talisman crafting recipes. Setting aside the synthesis of different items for the moment, Lin Yuan decided to examine the effects of synthesizing identical items. He picked up 2 pieces of low-grade spirit stones. Using the appraisal skill. Swipe. Appraisal successful. Item: Ethereal Gem. Type: Energy Essence. Grade: Sublime Ethereal Gem. Effect: encompasses 100 units of spiritual energy, with moderate purity. Without saying a word, Lin Yuan placed 2 spirit stones into the synthesized window. The 2 spirit stones disappeared out of thin air from Lin Yuan's hands to the synthesis window. Ding! Proceed with synthesis. Yes. Lin Yuan nodded naturally. In the synthesis window, the contents of the first 2 slots vanished. In the third slot, a crystalline stone emerged. With a single thought, the synthesized item in the window was now in Lin Yuan's hands. Appraisal technique. Appraisal successful. Item: Ethereal Gem. Type: Energy Essence. Grade: High-grade Ethereal Gem. Effect: encompasses 200 units of spiritual energy, with average purity. Lin Yuan was astonished. The synthesis outcome surpassed his expectations. It's worth noting that a complete high-grade ethereal gem could be exchanged for 100 sublime ethereal gems. Although the spiritual energy contained in this high-grade ethereal gem was only 20% of the full 1000 points, it could still be exchanged for 20 sublime ethereal gems. A tenfold increase in value. The enhancement in quality after synthesizing identical items is remarkably outstanding. If all 10 daily opportunities were used for sublime ethereal gem synthesis, Lin Yuan could acquire 180 gems daily for free. However, ethereal gems might not be the optimal solution. Lin Yuan's gaze fixed on a jade box. This jade box had little monetary value. Key lay in its contents. Upon opening the box, 200 to 300 delicate leaves were neatly arranged inside. Appraisal technique. Item: Tranquil Essence Tea Leaves. Type: Plant. Grade: Lower tier spiritual plant of yellow rank. Effect: when brewed and consumed, it temporarily enhances comprehension by 5%, lasting for a quarter of an hour. Elevating comprehension temporarily by half, the effect only persists for a quarter of an hour. Despite appearing somewhat lackluster, the selling price of this tea leaves reaches as high as 100 spirit stones. Typically reserved for moments when comprehension is bottlenecked, perhaps this modest 5% boost is sufficient to smoothly overcome the bottleneck. However, the effectiveness of this seems rather ordinary. But now, the situation Cheyenne is different. With the infinite synthesis system at hand, can the quality of tranquil essence tea be improved? He divides a box of spirit tea into 2 equal halves, placing them on 2 synthesis windows. Surprisingly, over 100 leaves actually fit into 1 window. Tranquil essence tea leaves plus tranquil essence tea leaves equals ding. Proceed with the synthesis. Lin Yuan raises an eyebrow, nodding yes. Ding. Synthesis successful. Remaining attempts 7. The synthesis window flashes with white light, successfully creating the item. Lin Yuan quickly retrieves it, proceeding to identify. Item: tranquil essence tea leaves. Type: plant. Grade: middle tier spiritual flora of yellow rank. Effect: when brewed and consumed, this tea temporarily augments comprehension by 0.2 plus 0.2 times x, where x represents the base level of comprehension, enduring for 2 spans of time. Lin Yuan pauses, then queries, "System, what is my level of comprehension?" Ding. Accessing Attribute Panel. Attribute Panel. Name: Lin Yuan. Realm: 4th stratum of Qi cultivation. Spiritual roots: metal 18, wood 18, water 16, fire 19, earth 32. Spiritual roots affect various aspects such as absorption, expenditure, and control of spiritual energy. Ranging from 1 to 20, they denote lower grade spiritual roots. 20. 1 to 40 are middle grade, 4 to 1st to 60 are upper grade, 6 to 1 to 80 are supreme grade, 8 to 1 to 85 are yellow grade, 8 to 6 to 90 are mysterious grade, 9 to 1 to 9 to 5 are earth grade, 9 to 6 to 100 are heavenly GR. ADE. Spiritual power: 6 to 3, 8 to 1. Each point of spiritual power allows for the casting of 1 basic spell. Each level of Qi cultivation boosts spiritual power by increments of 10. For instance, the first level increases it by 10, the second by 20, and so forth. Spiritual consciousness: 65/7 to 9. Each point of spiritual consciousness governs the manipulation of 3 basic spells, and enables the practice of the 3 circulations 3 times. Root bone: 3. Root bone influences the speed of cultivation in body refining techniques, and affects the rate of spiritual energy absorption. The passing threshold is 2. Comprehension: 1. The passing threshold is 1. Fortune: 1. The passing threshold is 0. Comprehension at 1 point. Lin Yuan strokes his chin, finding the figure quite ordinary. He acknowledges that he's not a prodigy, falling into the realm of average intelligence. A comprehension level of 1 point seems quite typical. Drinking the mid-tier yellow-ranked clear comprehension tea would raise H. His comprehension to 1.05, while consuming the high-tier yellow-ranked version could elevate it to 1.4. The disparity between half-baked and fully matured is 8-fold. The gap between the low-tier and mid-tier is quite significant. Clearly, the higher the grade of the spiritual tea, the stronger the effect. Lin Yuan divides the synthesized mid-tier clear comprehension tea into equal halves and places them in the synthesis window. Ding. Proceed with synthesis. Yes. Ding. Synthesis successful. Remaining attempts 6. Another synthesis. Ding. Synthesis successful. Remaining attempts 5. Lin Yuan continues synthesizing without hesitation. It's only when there's just a small fragment of tea leaves left that he stops. Identification technique. Item: Enlightenment tea leaves. Clear comprehension tea leaves. Max: type: plant. Grade: low-tier spiritual plant of earth rank. Effect 1. When brewed and consumed, temporarily boosts comprehension by 10 plus 5 times x, where x represents the base comprehension. Lasting for 2 hours, 240 minutes. Effect 2. Initial consumption increases comprehension by 1 point. Prolonged use can permanently elevate it to a maximum of 10 points. The number of synthesized times is consumed. The clear comprehension tea leaves have reached the limit of synthesis, upgrading from low-tier yellow rank to low-tier earth rank. Further synthesis is impossible because combining identical items can only advance 2 major realms, and low-tier earth rank is precisely 2 realms higher than low-tier yellow rank. The quantity of items has decreased from a few hundred pieces to just 1, yet its actual value has skyrocketed, the essence of a low-tier earth-grade treasure. Low-tier earth-grade treasures do not correspond to the golden core stage. For many golden core cultivators, being able to use profound tier treasures is already considered good. Generally, low-tier earth-grade treasures are meant for nascent soul, or even higher realms to fully appreciate. So, if this piece of Enlightenment tea leaves were to be auctioned, it would undoubtedly attract numerous experts, fetching an astonishingly high price. Of course, Lin Yuan cannot consider selling it, he intends to enjoy it himself. With his comprehension at 1 point, the temporary boost effect would be 15 points. A whopping 15-fold increase in comprehension. No, wait, the initial consumption increases comprehension by 1 point, and his base comprehension should already be considered 2. Therefore, the temporary boost effect would be 20 points. Adding the original 2 points, the total comprehension value could reach 22 points. He can hardly believe what effects a comprehension level of 22 points would bring. This is not a simple numerical addition, it signifies a qualitative leap. Without hesitation, he begins brewing the Enlightenment tea, eager to experience its remarkable effects.